Oh man, I need to brush my hair. It's always important to make sure you get every spot, especially if you have curly hair. It's really hard to keep it straight. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Jack Climbs Things, where today we're going to talk about something super important. Yes, we're talking about hiking shoe, boots, whatever you wear, whether it's a Chaco sandal or a Bedrock, or if you just go barefoot. Yes, we're going to talk about how hiking boots and shoes should fit, and we're going to address some common problems I've seen just in my years working at an outfitter. So let's get started. So I've worked at REI for the past 2 years as someone who outfits people for shoes and for clothing. So, you know, your rain jackets, your insulated jackets, stuff of that nature. And in my past 2 years there, I've just seen a variety of foot problems come in, and I've tried to learn my best to address them so people can ultimately end up in a better shoe for their through hike, first backpacking trip, even just a little camping trip, or going abroad to Europe or Latin America or what have you. So what we're going to talk about is first your foot and its various measurements, and then I'll mention some brands and some things to look for. But let's get right into it.
Just to clarify, the length of the foot is your measurement from heel to toe, and the width of your foot is the measurement from the ball of your foot to the outside edge.
Volume is the height of your foot from the bottom to the top, and some people have a high or low volume, and this greatly affects how your shoes will fit. So for me, if you look at my foot specifically on a Brannick device, which is the little foot measuring thing that a proper shoe store should use, my foot will measure at an 8.5 D width. Which means in my hiking shoes, running shoes, and even my boots, I actually put myself as a size 9.5 because it passes my 2 pragmatic tests that ensure that I will never get a heel blister or lose all my toenails. And I'll tell you that test in just a minute. So the first test that we look for is we want to make sure whenever we take a step that our heel isn't sliding up out of the shoe really big. If it's just doing a tiny slip, then usually you can just take your shoe and tighten it down more, and that fixes the problem. This is Florida for you. It is raining heavily and sunshine at the same time. So the rain finally stopped, and my driveway is the only place that really has an angle to it. But try to find, like, you know, a ramp, some stairs, or heck, if you're lucky enough to have elevation in your state, just go hiking in them and see how they feel. But here's the other functional test.
The other test is making sure your toes don't hit the front of your shoe at a downhill angle.
Now that we've talked about how your shoe should fit and 2 awesome pragmatic tests to make sure that they're not going to give you a problem on trail, let's talk about 2 of the most common problems that happen to hikers and even athletes when their shoes don't fit correctly. The first problem I've noticed is that people will complain, oh man, I love these shoes, but my toenails keep getting bruised or falling off. Well, unfortunately, your shoes are too small. Or you're just not tying them tight enough if they are bigger than the length of your foot. Your shoes, you should have at least like the width of a thumb from the end of your toes to the end of your shoe. And that's just, you know, that's for swelling, that's for walking downhill, everything. So we really want to make sure that our shoe size is correct at all times. Another problem I commonly see is, hey, I love these shoes, but I keep getting a heel blister. What gives? Well, oftentimes this is a fixable solution. Some people have a narrow heel, or maybe the boot is just cut really wide back there, and that space needs to be taken up because blisters are formed by moisture and friction. So what we can do for that is either A, wear a thicker sock to take up some of that space and reduce that friction, or B, maybe tie your shoe a little tighter or use some of the lacing techniques that I will show you shortly. So this is my Salomon Quest boot, and we're going to go over 2 lacing techniques. The first one will give you more space in your shoe. If your shoes are a little small and you just can't get a new pair of shoes that are longer in right away, this could help. And then the second lacing technique is for when your heel is slipping out of the boot. So let's start with the first one now. The first one is called making a window. First, you want to identify the eyelet that there is pressure on your foot and it is hurting and you need to make more space. For me, that's usually about right here. So all we're gonna do is we're going to take the shoe like this, unlace the portion that is a little tight. Again, this little middle spot right here. And instead of crisscrossing the shoe like you would for this, we're just gonna go straight up. Another option to give yourself more space is to remove the insole of your shoe or boot. Usually most shoes can get by without the insole, but most often it is more comfortable in a trail runner than a boot because a trail runner has foam underneath the insole. So really simple, you just reach in there, give it a good tug, and look at that, you just freed up way more space. You can maybe get a thicker sock just so you can replace the lost cushioning of an insole, but that is another option for you. This next technique is for when your heel is sliding up and down in a boot too much and you need to solve it. The first step is to identify which eyelet is more closely connected to the heels. I have two different boots here. In the Salomon boot, the eyelet that most connects to the heel is this one right here. In this Ultra boot that I have, the eyelet that most connects to the heel would probably be either this one or this one. And I'll show you how to tie the lace lock. The lace lock is really simple. All you have to do is get your laces into the first eyelet, or the one connected closely to the heel, grab the laces, and pretend you're tying them like normal shoes. You're gonna come around once, and then you're gonna come around twice. You can do it a third time, but you really only need two. You're then going to pull it tight, like so. When you do this, notice how the shoe doesn't stretch back out. It's called a lace lock because it holds the laces in place. Then you can just go ahead and tie your boot, shoe, whatever, as you normally would. And of course I'm gonna struggle here, but yeah, you get the idea. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope if you're on trail that you can at least make your shoes a little bit more comfortable until your next resupply. But until then, this is Jack signing off. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like below. And if you just want to see more content, more tips, tricks, how-tos, and gear videos, consider subscribing. I'll be vlogging my Appalachian Trail journey very, very soon. I start March 2nd, which is about 17 days away. So until then, have an amazing day.